Okay, we're live. Looks like we're live. So welcome everybody. Friday, May 18th, 2018 from Minnetonka, Minnesota. It's Pat and Dale, LTR Digital Group. Thanks for joining, Dale.
Absolutely. Glad I could be here.
Okay.
Yep.
Apologize for not shaving today. Kind of felt lazy, so I didn't shave.
It's a Friday.
It's Friday. I want to give a shout out to Craig Zadra from Shared Medical Technologies up in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. He's an avid follower of our live streams, and he's getting, from what he says, a tremendous amount of value out of the content. So I want to give him a shout out. We had a little conversation this week, and so I just want to say, hey, what up?
Is he the winner of our contest this week?
He is the winner of our contest.
Your prize is in the mail.
That prize is actually an invoice.
Oh, so that's kind of prize that we like. So, anyway,
we'll get to it. So we've got three topics today. The first topic is around Facebook and how Facebook is packed with abusive content and some of the actions that Facebook took. Topic number two is a follow-up to last week's conversation around lead magnets, and part of the goal of the lead magnet is to build a list. If you don't do anything with the list once you build it, then you're not taking step two in that process. We'll talk about that. And third is some changes if you use Google as far as your email, your ESP email service provider, you may see some changes going on there. So let's start with Facebook. And why don't you talk a little bit about some of the fake accounts and kind of what they did? You know, we all know that Facebook's been on the radar recently and in the news with some of the challenges of data that was being stolen and used during the political campaigns. I think Facebook is, I'm going to say, coming clean a little bit, and it's kind of interesting to follow what they're doing because they are really kind of showing how much egg they have on their face. And it may be extremely smart business move, or it may not be. Time will tell that. But kind of talk a little bit about some of the challenges that they're facing, I guess.
So yeah, so this news came out this week. It actually is something that took place over the course of the first quarter of 2018, and the headline was basically that Facebook had shut down 583 million fake accounts, or what it identified as fake accounts. Now, this wasn't the first time that Facebook has done a cleanup like this. I think it's got to be more than a year ago that Facebook went through and identified what it considered to be inactive accounts and eliminated a lot. Yep. Several, probably a few hundred million. That was
for a different reason.
Yeah, like I said, that was inactive accounts that they had figured that may have been abandoned or just not used anymore. It wasn't decided whether or not they were fake or not. They just said that they determined them to be abandoned accounts. This was strictly whatever method that they use to identify what's fake versus not fake. They're calling these are fake accounts. And it's probably tied to a lot of what they consider fake content or content they don't necessarily want on Facebook. So the point being is that 583 million accounts disappeared in the first quarter of 2018. And I'm sure that's not the end of it. I think what that points out to, though, is really the demonstrable task that Facebook has on its hands trying to wrangle this in and manage such a large ecosystem.
Yeah, another stat from that to just complement what you're saying is Facebook took down 837 million pieces of spam content between January and March of this year alone.
That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. And I think it's good because it's still an ad ecosystem. Many businesses use it for marketing, whether you have your company's profile on there, your local business on there, or whether you're using it for advertising. And it's good to know that they're being proactive in cleaning these things up and trying to make it a better environment for everybody. So, but one thing that might be interesting, and I looked at this before for some of our clients, last time that Facebook went in and they cleaned out all the inactive accounts, I looked at some of our larger consumer clients. I looked at that to see, and I did see drops in how many page likes that, there was a nonprofit that I was watching their Facebook page, same thing. So if you do see, or if you have seen a slight drop in the number of page likes that you have, things like this can be a contributor to that. It's not like you suddenly lost valuable followers. So,
okay. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Okay. As always, as we go through this, if you have questions, feel free to shoot it on the live stream on Facebook or shoot us an email. Second topic, around the use of email to complement your efforts to build a list via lead magnets. And again, lead magnets are really basically, in its simplest form, is a valuable key piece of content that you market and try to get in front of a targeted audience, and you want them to opt into so that you can get a piece of their contact information for that valuable free piece of content that educates them, and that's to a certain extent getting them into your sales funnel. So then what you need to do there is to have a strategy in place to help nurture that person that downloaded the content further down through your funnel. One way to do that is through email campaigns. So this is out of a study based out of the United Kingdom, and it said 60% of B2B marketers do not send email. Do you want to jump in and talk, or you want me to throw out some numbers?
Yeah, go ahead and throw out some numbers, and then we can just do it as a follow-up of what we talked about last week. Yep. So
this study showed that 59% used no email during a 90-day period that this study was the time period of this study. And what they did send was very, very much flawed, okay? For example, 18% failed to optimize the email for mobile devices. I'll tell you, there is nothing worse than you're on your mobile device and somebody sends you an email, and it's probably a good email that's got good content, but you gotta pinch, you gotta move, you gotta do all kinds of things to make it readable on your mobile device. 8% lacked an unsubscribe link. Always have an unsubscribe link, because the reason being is if people aren't going to value your email sequences, you just get them out of there. Keep it clean, keep it nice. Make it easy for them to unsubscribe. There's nothing wrong with that.
And that also points out, what was that they're not using unsubscribe?
Yeah, it said 8% lacked an unsubscribe link.
Yeah, so right there, that they're not even managing their email marketing enough to be compliant with. You have no choice. If you do bulk email marketing or mass email marketing, the law requires that you put an unsubscribe link on there. So that's how much some of these people are not paying attention to what they're doing in their email.
Yep.
And I know what they're probably doing it, and I've run across this once. They're probably using a product like an Outlook or something like that, and they're doing like a mass send to link, and they're not using an approved email service provider like a MailChimp or something like that.
More stats. They sent one campaign every 25 days. That's far from the optimal frequency. And instead of sending emails from a personal name within a company, the sent from name is actually the brand or the company in and of itself. And that happened in this study 89% of the time. So that is way out of whack. Let's see. But they did. The study does say that they did do some things right. 72% used images in their email. 18% conduct image-only campaigns. Only 10% send messages in plain text. So the good news is that 72% use images. You want to break up the content with images. They say 60% of consumers prefer emails with images. However, if you use too many images or too many calls to action, that can have a detrimental effect. They say that the optimum number of call to actions is actually 3.3, but some of them had all the way up to 12 call to actions.
Wow.
So why don't you expand on any thoughts there, or any of the stats?
Well,
then I'll kind of share what the recommendations are.
Yeah.
In the study.
You know, the reason I kind of picked this article is last week we did talk about lead magnets and ways to use content to build assets. And obviously email marketing or building an email list is probably at the foundation of many of that. You can build all sorts of, remarketing lists and custom audiences in Facebook and remarketing audiences. But the idea is to build an asset that you can control and leverage in your marketing. As we mentioned in our last video was, just because they said no today doesn't necessarily mean they're going to say no tomorrow. But unless you're taking the steps to get back in front of them, multiple touches and stay relevant, you stand the opportunity to lose that sale or lose that customer. So using email wisely, and using it with the customer in mind is very effective. We see that in our clients, revenue, a lot of revenue, a good portion of revenue being generated through email. So if you take the information that we shared with you last week and then couple that with what Pat's sharing in today, I think today that information that Pat's sharing is to touch on, don't assume that email marketing is only for B2C. It can be used effectively in B2B. In fact, I would say because the number of B2B marketers are fewer than B2C, you probably have a greater opportunity because you're unique in your vertical, maybe, right? So if your competitors aren't using it, nobody's using it, go ahead and use it and be different. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 7 things. Get your pen ready, and paper. Don't be writing on the desk. Here's what they recommend B2B marketers do. Build your audience. Send campaigns from a person. Don't leave their subscribers waiting, which means don't wait 25 days to send out a campaign. Have a drip campaign in mind. Drip meaning just multiple, it's a sequence of emails that go out. Make the campaigns readable on any device, so have them optimized based upon what screen you're viewing it on. Remember that less is always more in email marketing. Don't just have this multi-page of content for you to read in an email. It's not going to happen. Use email to drive people to a purpose, and take email marketing laws very seriously, what Dale just mentioned. So those are the 7 tips for email marketing.
Yeah. And when you think of that B2B environment, you have to think of probably the possibility of much longer sales cycles than, say, in a consumer market. One way that email marketing is used in e-commerce and in the B2C world is somebody goes to your website, they put something in their shopping cart, and they leave without making a purchase. And then you can set up automations that they get an automated email reminding them, or maybe a day later, they get an email saying, hey, don't forget you put this microphone or whatever, you put this in your cart, come back. And that's called abandoned shopping cart emails. But when you're dealing with that longer sales cycle, it may be a situation where email nurturing and taking them along that decision process is your best bet, because they're not ready to make that decision. Even if you are the right choice, they're probably not at that decision yet.
Yep. So
there you go.
There you go. So reflect on your own email campaigns. If you're not doing at least 5 of the 7 steps, get it going. Last topic of the day is some of the changes. If you're a Gmail user, there's some changes coming to your inbox and the way that mechanism is being used, or what's going to show up on the inbox changes, I guess.
Yep. So I had mentioned so we just had Google's big annual event called Google I/O. So there was a lot of announcements. I didn't attend the remote I/O this year, but that's the event that Google announces all the new initiatives for the year to come. And email was part of that. You'll start seeing, I think, Pat, you mentioned that you're seeing features like this already showing up in yours. So when it's going to be rolled out system-wide, who knows? But be checking your email, your inboxes And one of the features that they're going to have in there is they're going to give you suggestions based on, this is like the image that they show here. You're going to get a little box at the top, or you're going to get a box. So, well, first of all, let me point out, I was just looking for the numbers. That's what I was doing on my phone. As of, I couldn't find any new numbers for 2018, but as of July 2017, there's 1.7 billion Gmail users.
Yeah,
Is that in there?
It says it's over 1 billion.
Yeah.
I saw, yeah.
Yep. So that was, I was looking for any updated numbers as of 2018, but still 1 point whatever billion, that's a lot. And to the point that Pat was talking about as far as mobile optimized emails, more emails are getting opened on a mobile device now than any other device. And I think that's going to be true for B2C and B2B simply because of the convenience factor. And so if you set up through your inbox setups, that even if it's your company email being fed into your Gmail app and you're reading your email there rather than logging into some clumsy client, email client that your company might have, Gmail still becomes that nexus for your emails that come in. So one of the features they're going to put on there is in a recommendation to unsubscribe to email newsletters. And your chances are, if you're like me, you get tons of email, from Wayfair and everybody like that. I was getting a lot from Kohl's for a while. What they're going to do in order to help you streamline your email and your inbox is recommend or help you unsubscribe through a push of a button from email lists that you're not engaging with. Well, that's from the user side or the consumer side. But think about that from the marketer's side. If you're sending out emails that people aren't engaging with, and if you have bad open rates or low open rates, and that average is right in that 20 some odd percent. It varies from vertical to vertical, but in that 20 some odd percent open rate, that would be in the averages. So if you have a below average open rate, you could very well end up with Google recommending people say, well, you're not opening this once, you just unsubscribe.
And that's exactly what happened to me. Is it was a Groupon. So I get email from Groupon, and I opened probably maybe 1 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on what's going on. And it just popped up, and it was yesterday. It said, you haven't opened this thing in a long time, dude. Do you want to subscribe? And I said no, but I mean, I actually didn't even realize they were doing that until Dale brought that up as a topic today.
So since you've experienced that, let me ask you, because what's one thing I didn't have clarity on, by pushing that button, what did it prompt you to do? Did you push a button in your inbox and say unsubscribe, or do you actually have to take you to the email and you had to unsubscribe from the email?
I think like your image shows there.
Yep. Just hit unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe or no thanks. I said no thanks because I still want the Groupon to come in.
Okay.
So I said no thanks.
All right.
And then it just stayed there in my inbox. So
did it?
I can't describe for you what happens if you hit unsubscribe.
All right.
My guess would be a double opt out kind of thing. Unsubscribe, and then you say you sure you want to unsubscribe, and then you say yes. My guess. But,
yeah.
I can't.
I wasn't able to find any information, but like they're showing here on the phone, you probably can't see a picture of a phone, and there's a box here, and there's an unsubscribe, and then there's a no thanks button. And what I wasn't able to tell is Gmail somehow able to unsubscribe you from a list simply by pushing that button, or is it going to take you to that email? Yeah. Is it going to open the email and then prompt you to unsubscribe? So I don't know, but it is maybe for people that do email marketing, where it can be of concern is focus, start looking at your open rates. If you're seeing declining open rates, think how do I improve my email open rates, whether it's working on your headlines of your emails or whatever. So anyway, that was an interesting little feature. And how are we doing on time?
Getting close.
Okay. There's one other thing I wanted to mention as I was going through, kind of like the Google thing is, and I think this gets overlooked a lot. If you're a business, and because now we're going into the summer months, we got kids next month, kids getting out of school and changes and what have you. So if you're a business, and I experienced this a lot with the restaurant clients I'd worked with years ago, if your business hours of operation change, don't forget to log into your Google Maps listing. You should do, I would say this weekend or whatever, log into your Google Maps listing anyway, if you have access to it, and just make sure your information is up to date. And if you do have some hour changes, check your hours and make sure that's accurate.
And we actually got an email from Google saying update your holiday hours. Update your hours for the upcoming holidays, right?
Yep.
So we don't change anything because we're always working for you, right? But that's how Google's even trying to help you with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
I use that hours all the time. In fact, I used it twice this morning because I had to go do some things this morning. And I used it twice. I got to the maps listing and I found out when they were open.
Yeah.
So if that wasn't accurate and I got there, I would not be happy. So.
No, absolutely. And then sometimes in AdWords, I can use it in AdWords campaign by linking up a maps listing to a Google AdWords account and then pull in those hours of operation so people can see right in the ad that whether or not the business is open or what are the hours of operation today. So those things have become important. I know it's, you got a lot going on if you're operating a business, but these are the things that I would encourage you not to, don't overlook.
Yeah, don't lose sight of it.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
Okay, thank you for sharing your Friday afternoon with us. Maybe we should get like a good sign off. Like, who's the guy that had the coat? The friendly neighbor. What's his name?
What? The guy that had the coat.
Yeah, he had that plaid jacket.
The
neighbor. Oh. Hi, neighbor.
Oh, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
He didn't wear plaid. It was a sweater.
It was a sweater.
Fred Rogers. Yeah, we all grew up with him. So
okay, neighbor.
Yes. Thank you for being our neighbor. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.